The 2026 Toyota Monster pickup isn't just another truck in a crowded segment that already has the Ford F-150 Raptor, Ram 1500 TRX, and Chevy Silverado ZR2 fighting for attention. It's Toyota saying, "We've been watching, we've been learning, and now we're coming in hot." For years, Toyota's off-road image was carried by the Tacoma TRD Pro and the Tundra TRD Pro, both solid, both reliable, both a little too polite when it came to outright horsepower and visual aggression. That changes completely with the 2026 Monster pickup. From the moment you see it parked, it looks like it drove straight out of a SEMA concept build and onto a dealer lot, and that's exactly the reaction Toyota wants. Let's start with what you notice first, the stance. The 2026 Monster pickup sits on a completely re-engineered frame that Toyota calls the Monster TNGAF platform. It's related to the Tundra and Land Cruiser 300 underpinnings, but stretched, reinforced, and lifted from the factory. Ground clearance is 13.8 inches without touching a single aftermarket part. Approach angle is 41 degrees, departure angle is 36 degrees, and breakover is 28 degrees. Those numbers matter if you actually take this thing into Moab, Johnson Valley, or your local trail system, and Toyota clearly designed this truck for people who will. The suspension is a long-travel, double wishbone front and a 5-link solid rear with Fox 3.1 live valve internal bypass shocks that adjust damping 500 times per second. You get 14 inches of front travel and 15 inches in the rear. That's more than a Raptor and right on par with a TRX. Toyota also fitted 37x 12.5 R20 Falken Wheeled-Peak MT tires as standard, wrapped around beadlock-capable 20-inch forged wheels with TRD Monster center caps. The fender flares are widened by 3.5 inches per side, and they're functional, not plastic stick-on pieces. You can see the venting and airflow channels if you get close. Under the hood is where Toyota shuts up the critics who said the brand doesn't do big V8 power anymore. The 2026 Monster pickup uses a new 5.7-liter iForce Max V8 with a hybrid assist. Yes, hybrid, but not for fuel economy bragging rights. The electric motor is sandwiched between the engine and the 10-speed automatic and is tuned purely for torque fill. Total output is 450 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. That puts it just under the TRX but above the Raptor R's base 5.2 and right in the mix with the Ram 1500 Rebel Ramcharger's combined output. The V8 itself is naturally aspirated, which Toyota engineers insisted on because they wanted linear throttle response for rock crawling and precise modulation in sand. The hybrid system adds an instant 150 pound-feet at 0 RPM, so the truck launches hard even though it weighs 6,450 pounds. 0 to 60 comes up in 4.9 seconds according to Toyota's internal testing, and the quarter mile is in the low 13s. More importantly for truck buyers, towing is rated at 12,000 pounds and payload is 1,820 pounds, even with the long travel suspension. That's because Toyota reinforced the rear axle with a full floating Dana 80 design and added air helper springs that self-level when you hook up a trailer. The drivetrain is serious overkill in the best way. Standard is a full-time 4WD system with a Torsen center differential. You get an electronically locking front differential, an electronically locking rear differential, and a 2-speed transfer case with a 2.64, 1 low range. There's also a new, Monster Crawl, mode that combines the lockers, hill descent control, and the hybrid mode's torque vectoring to crawl over obstacles at 0.5 miles per hour without touching the pedals. For desert running, there's Baja mode, that loosens stability control, sharpens throttle, and opens the active exhaust baffles. Speaking of exhaust, Toyota fitted a titanium-tipped, dual-mode exhaust that you can control from the steering wheel. Quiet mode keeps you under most neighborhood noise ordinances. Monster mode is loud enough to set off car alarms. Inside, Toyota finally ditched the rugged but cheap interior argument. The 2026 Monster pickup cabin is lifted directly from the Lexus GX 550 Overtrail playbook, then made tougher. You get a 14-inch central touchscreen running Toyota's latest infotainment with wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and built-in trail mapping that downloads Gaia GPS layers over the air. The digital gauge cluster is 12.3 inches and reconfigures depending on drive mode. In Baja mode it shows a giant boost-style tack and G-meter. In crawl mode it switches to pitch, roll, altitude, and tire articulation graphics. The seats are TRD Monster Performance seats with magnesium frames, 14-way power, heating, ventilation, and active bolstering that tightens in corners. Upholstery is a new material Toyota calls Riptide Softex, which is basically a synthetic suede that's waterproof, mud-proof, and hose-off friendly. Carbon fiber trim is real, not printed plastic, and there's red contrast stitching everywhere. Rear legroom is 43.2 inches because the cab is stretched 4 inches compared to a crew cab Tundra. You also get a power rear window, a 120 volts outlet in the bed, and a 2,400 watt onboard inverter. Technology is another area where Toyota went all in because the competition forced their hand. The Monster pickup comes standard with Toyota Safety Sense 3.5, but it's been retuned for off-road. Adaptive Cruise works down to 0 miles per hour and will follow a vehicle on a dirt road. Lane Tracing Assist understands rutted trails. The new Trail Cam system gives you a 360-degree view with a transparent hood function, plus underbody cameras that show your front and rear diffs in real time. There's also a built-in air compressor in the bed with a digital gauge and preset pressures for sand, rock, and highway. The truck can store 4 tire pressure profiles and air up or down at the push of a button. For overlanders, Toyota offers a factory roof rack rated to 700 pounds dynamic and 1,200 pounds static, plus a bed rack system with integrated mall panels and a 270-degree awning. On the road, the 2026 Monster pickup is surprisingly composed. The Fox shocks in normal mode are soft enough for daily driving, and the hybrid V8 is quiet and smooth. Steering is hydraulic electric, which Toyota chose to keep feel at low speeds. It doesn't wander on the highway like some solid axle trucks, and wind noise is well controlled despite the aggressive tires. Fuel economy is rated at 16 mpg city, 19 highway, and 17 combined. That's not great, but it's better than a TRX and about the same as a Raptor R, and you're not buying this for Prius numbers. The hybrid system also gives you EV creep for silent crawling through campsites or hunting areas for about 2 miles at under 15 miles per hour. Off-road is where the truck earns its name. Toyota took a fleet of pre-production Monster pickups to King of the Hammers in 2025 and let journalists drive them back-to-back with Raptors and TRXs. The feedback was consistent. The Monster feels lighter than it is because the torque delivery is so immediate, and the suspension soaks up hits that would bottom out other trucks. The locking front diff makes a huge difference in rock gardens, and the 41-degree approach angle means you don't have to worry about the front bumper on steep ledges. In sand, Baja mode and the 37-inch Falkens let you float over dunes at 40 miles per hour without digging in. Water fording is rated at 32 inches thanks to a raised air intake and sealed electronics. Toyota even includes a factory snorkel that stows in the bed and installs in 10 minutes with no tools. Pricing is where Toyota had to be careful. A base 2026 Monster pickup starts at $74,995 including destination. That's about $3,000 more than a Ram 1500 TRX and $2,000 less than a Ford Raptor R. For that you get everything mentioned above, no packages required. Toyota does offer a Monster Launch Edition for $82,450 that adds a painted roof, bronze wheels, a bed-mounted spare tire carrier, and a serialized plaque. There's also a tow-and-go package for $2,800 that adds a heavier hitch, integrated trailer brake controller with sway control, and Tow Haul Plus mode that uses the hybrid battery to smooth out grades. Color options include ice cap white, midnight black metallic, solar octane orange, and a new cement gray that looks incredible with the blacked out trim. So who is this truck for? If you're a contractor who needs a work truck, buy a regular Tundra. The Monster is for the person who wants one vehicle that can tow a boat on Saturday, hit the desert on Sunday, and still be comfortable commuting on Monday. It's for the Raptor owner who's bored, the TRX owner who wants Toyota reliability, and the Tacoma owner who's ready to step up without going to a full-size HD truck. Toyota's reputation for reliability is the X factor here. The 5.7 V8 is a new design but shares architecture with the proven Tundra engine, and the hybrid components are covered under an 8-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Dealers will also offer a 3-year maintenance plan that includes the first 3 sets of brake pads, because with 450 horsepower you will use them. The competition is not going to sit still. Ford will respond, Ram will respond, and Chevy will probably push the ZR2 even harder. But for 2026, Toyota has the headline. The monster pickup looks outrageous, drives like a performance truck, and still has the utility and reliability people expect from the brand.